Nikki Haley sticking around? What is she? I can't figure it out for the life of me. What is she hoping to get?
Well, she's running for next time around, Sean. So in 28, she'll be the leading contender, or, depending on who Trump picks as vice president this time around if Trump wins. But that's what she's doing. She's establishing herself as a power in the Republican Party. She raised a lot of money. She really don't have anything else to do. Why not run? If Republican billionaires are going to fund her to the extent they are, why not run? So that's what she's doing. She's laying the groundwork for a future successful run at the presidency.
The thing that's interesting, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, she's got the money. They keep throwing cash at her, so it's like, why not? But the thing is, I feel like she's upsetting more of the base that she would need in the future needlessly.
Well, I don't know about needlessly. She doesn't have the profile nationally to mount a presidential campaign at this time. But she will be more well-known, and, people's memories are short. So, yeah, she's teeing off some MAGA people now, but I don't mind it. I like competition in the political area. I think she's run a pretty good campaign myself. She's organized, gets her points across. So what? Let Donald Trump, slug it out for a few weeks. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, I do like his approach, which is don't hand this to me. I'll win it the old-fashioned way. And I think that was smart of him, because if people believe that there was a coronation, that he would have an excuse not to vote for him. But what is fascinating, she stayed in, DeSantis got out. There's a lot of post-mortem discussion about how he ran his campaign. I will admit, considering the job that he did in Florida and the record he had, the campaign that he ran did not match the record that he had as governor. And there was this disconnect between presenting a guy that actually got a lot done, stood up to corporations, was great during COVID, and the guy who presented himself as a presidential candidate.
Well, it's because he doesn't have the personality to go out and convince people to vote for him. So as a technician, he's excellent. I think Florida's really run well.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they pulled two of my books out of the Pensacola library, Killing Jesus and Killing Reagan. Yeah. Come on. You looked that story up. We made a big deal out of that. Somebody abused the law up there in Florida, and DeSantis wouldn't do what he should have done by condemning it. It was preposterous. But anyway, politicians are very good technicians, but they can't sell themselves. They don't have the personality to do it. He always looked uneasy, always looked awkward, doesn't ad-lib well. And he's up against the master, Trump.
Yeah.
So he's looking like he's in Double-A baseball.
So take Trump's potential VP out of the mix for just a second. You mentioned what you think about Nikki Haley's future. There's a lot of talk, obviously, that he dropped out when he did to preserve any shred of future political options. If it's DeSantis, and I get it, we're just having fun here on a Friday. If it's DeSantis versus Haley, does she have the personality versus he's got the record?
Well, I mean, it'll be a much closer race, there's no doubt about it. But, Ron DeSantis got to get a charisma injection somehow. They'll probably have that 4 years from now. You can take a pill and you'll get charisma. He doesn't have any personal charisma. Yeah. And in the United States of show business, I mean, you need it now.
Yeah.
So that it was his problem.
So let's get on to the reality of this race. There's a series of polls that came out in key states this week that showed that asked voters a simple question. Were you better off under Trump or Biden? And by far, every one of them by at least 10 points says Trump. I have propositioned that this is a very simple election in terms of messaging. Here's what the domestic record is under Trump. Here's what it is under Biden. Here's what's going on in the foreign policy area in Trump versus Biden. I get that it should be that easy. there are a lot of people that I talk to, and I guarantee you if I'm talking to them, then you're talking to smarter and bigger and better people that don't like Trump's style. And that is the one thing that's standing between them. What do you tell people, if anything, when they say to you, Bill, I get the record, I just don't like the style and the optics of Donald Trump?
I don't tell them anything. I mean, they have a right to their opinion. Look, I've known Trump so long that I'm probably numb to what he says. I don't care what he says as long as it is not hurting the country. So, for example, you're correct, and you were part of it. Donald Trump ran the country fairly well for 4 years. The measures are there. You see it. Biden is a disaster. I'm writing a book called Confronting the President's No Spin Assessments from Washington to Biden, and Biden's the second worst president in our history.
Who's one?
And he's sinking. James Buchanan, the guy before Lincoln, who totally botched the run-up to the Civil War, is the worst. But Biden has early-stage dementia, so you got to know that's what you're voting for. And there isn't any measure that he succeeded in. I mean, I'm still investigating the prescription drug thing. I want to be fair, but the guy is he's drowning. So when people say, look, I don't want to vote for Trump because I don't like him, I understand. But I then say to them, do you like your family? You like your job? Because 4 more years of Biden, you're going to get hurt worse than you are now. That's what I say.
Well, and that's the point. I think you do make a case, clearly a compelling one, because I think that's the point here. People have to understand that whether it's safety in their community, the economy and their job and their economic security, the security of our country, that there is a lot at stake. And that it's not, if you have a problem with his style, with Trump's style, I get it. As Tim Scott put it this weekend on a Sunday show, he said something to the effect of, the president and I don't share the same disposition when it comes to words. But the policy matters. It affects our life, our community, and our country. And that should make a difference.
Sure. And that's my approach to it. See, it's annoying when Donald Trump will make fun of Nikki Haley's dress. It's unnecessary. It's an unforced error. Why are you doing that? You're trying to convince women to vote for you. You don't comment on women's clothing. Okay? I mean, everybody knows that. But Trump does what he wants, says what he wants, and he justifies it by saying, I've been successful, so why should I change?
That's it.
I got it. But we are now at a crossroads in this country. Joe Biden is a horrendous president. I mean, it is far worse than most people know. He is not in control of that process. He's being run by the furthest left elements of the Progressive Party. He's doing what he's told to do. He can barely find out where he is from hour to hour. And this is what you're going to vote for again?